Hello, everyone. This is a new episode of PaperSpock Plays Heaven's Vault, and I may sound a little different today, and today's episode is going to be maybe shorter because I had a technical difficulty and uh, my audio was lost from last time. Plus, I ended up having to start like 10 minutes in, though very little happened in that first 10 minutes. So let's go on, let's get into this. And so I start out here with a translation. I don't exactly remember my thinking during this part, so what I will take a moment to say is that the last hour and a half I spend doing translations, and I am probably going to end up cutting that because I don't remember exactly what I was saying during the translations. I could try to piece it out because I mean, this obviously at this point I'm like trying to search for what I want to put together here. But what I'll do is maybe I will separately record and append to this episode, or start the next episode with a review of the translations I ended up doing. So, looking here, we have four. We have, I guess I'm putting it there, the beginning. We have every. For every, I don't remember exactly what I did. I know I tried to put in as many symbols as I could, and can't even remember if I got this one correctly. Also, I apologize if the mic is picking up sounds it usually wouldn't. I'm hoping I can try to figure out a way to edit that out. But I usually record these in a program called OBS, which, if if you're one of my friends, you're probably familiar with it because a lot of my friends are people who stream. But anyway, it already is set up to do that. I'm not exactly sure how to set that up here. I think it's something you do after you're done recording. We'll end up seeing how that ends up working. Gonna cough. I'm gonna take off my headphones. That's probably gonna be noisier than usual. I'm gonna try to cough away from the mic. So anyway, now this is coming together, I think, or maybe not. I can't ultimately remember if I had enough symbols to break this up into pieces, but it's a copper compass. Uh, Basically, what I ended up doing is I decided to head off to the, where did I decide to head off to? The ancient library, I think? What was that last episode? I'm trying to remember because these just kind of mentally run together in my head as I record them. But here we have copper compass. Okay, that's all I can think of. For every yourself, future B opens. Okay. I can see what Huang's opinion is when I get to Iox. I think this originates from the site we're after. We must be near. This will make the site we're looking for easier to locate. So we travel along here, and might I suggest turning left? I can't even remember exactly how long this river portion is going to take. But let me try to see how I can fill the space. Because last time I spent an hour and a half translating something and, well, doing multiple translations. There were multiple translations, many of which were confusing, many of which I didn't have all the info for. Specifically, I was missing the word your. I'm pretty sure I'm headed off to try to find okay, the structure is basically intact, mistress. There's nothing here to find. That was weird. I've never had that happen before. I think, and we'll see, but I think I'm headed off to find the ancient library that Huang had mentioned. Though there may be a secondary site I'm headed to. We are leaving the vicinity of the site of the ancient library, mistress. Okay, good. That is where I was headed. It was this time. That's kind of what I felt like, but for some reason I felt like I might have done. We've identified a swirl in the river. It is shaped like an ancient glyph. Was the moon really the site of the Library of Future Knowledge? At this point, I'm sure I'm just kind of trying to navigate around and figure out which way I think is the best way into things. And so we're leaving the vicinity. We're gonna enter back into the vicinity of the ancient library at this point. Anyway, we will need to turn right shortly, mistress. I don't think a lot of conversation happens. I think that, because initially what happened is I had recorded 10 minutes, basically nothing had happened, then I got interrupted by a telephone call, and I figured, hey, since nothing happened, I could go ahead and start over. And just lose that first 10 minutes because nothing really had happened, but then other stuff came up. And I think I actually maybe had muted myself during that first 10 minutes, the intention to unmute myself almost immediately because I was going to do something that was a little noisy. So I'm going to be a lot more careful the next time I try to mute myself. So we're continuing to look through, see where we can go. Which way, 6? I would talk about what happened last time from your perspective, but I can't really remember exactly what happened last time compared to what happened this time. I do not know, mistress. Last time I must have gone to Iox and handed off the crown and talked to Myari. Pretty sure that's what happened last time from your perspective. I mean, I know it's something that's happened. I just not 100% sure what happens in this episode, but I think that's what ends up happening last episode, not this episode. Otherwise, you just got a sneak peek of what happens later this episode. I also can't remember what banter I've said last episode versus this one. Like, I know at some point I've talked about how it would be interesting if the rocks actually did damage to your ship and you actually had to try to navigate around them, even though that would be kind of frustrating. But I also kind of wondered if the game was set up to do it. Okay, I think we found it. I will activate the hopper now, mistress. Hopefully, we can go ahead and move on into talking about stuff. Though maybe that was this episode. Maybe I have just told you something that's going to happen later. Anyway, the site of the ancient library. Will the books here tell the future as Huang believes? And I don't know why I rested on this screen so long, but I rested a little longer than usual, but that's okay.
Open sands and deathly silence.
Beautiful landscape we have here. The building is
This
old.
place was so old, even the ghosts had died.
I like that line. Even the ghosts had died. 6? I don't feel right. Evidently it is the air here, mistress. There is not enough. You will feel dizzy, lightheaded, and nauseous. You will eventually pass out. Okay, this is where I crank up the text speed because I had heard somewhere that if you crank up the text speed, that ends up helping you. Because I did decide to look at a little beginner's guide after I've been, I think at this point, well over 10 hours in, just because I was curious, and I didn't end up really, thankfully, spoiling anything of note because I just have this bad tendency to try to look up stuff. I've been trying to resist it. But you'll hopper me when it gets serious, won't you? It is already serious. I will hopper you should it become dire. I love 6. No time to waste, Ben. But anyway, I looked at some of the basic tips. The only other little bit of info it gave me was it gave me a little bit of info a little bit early that I could use items. There was a statue here. Ah, yes, the feet. Just like on the one on Elbereth. There's an inscription down here. Okay, so I can talk a little as I work through the translation here. So basically, the only thing it told me that I didn't know that seemed even a little spoilery was the fact that you can use items in your inventory to do things like open up the crate, like we did with that knife, or was it a chest? Something like that. So I had learned that can sometimes be powerful. Oh, the god of ships. Or the god of a ship? I wonder what happened to the rest of it. Perhaps they took it with them when they left this place. Why would they leave the feet behind? Part of the problem that it won't open. And here I start to lose health. Part of the problem with this with trying to commentate is if I go off on my own tangent, I'm not exactly sure when text is going to appear, but when I'm playing, I control. Here's our way in, just like that. I'm not exactly sure, and so look at this place.
The
Sometimes I'll get
air
distracted by a tangent.
should have reeked of ash and smoke. But no, nothing. These
Okay,
walls were dry bones.
look in the sand. There's something poking out here. A goddess of water figurine. I guess it dates from the earliest days of the nebula. Her back has been inscribed. Okay, another part where I put text together. I look here, I try to find what words. This is a long phrase. This is very much the reason that I don't think I will record commentary for when I'm puzzling out a language, because I do have footage of that. I have an hour and a half of me doing translations. This could have been the longest episode yet, if not for the error that I ran into. I am disappointed I don't get to share that with you, but hopefully I can review the translations, and that could be helpful in terms of me seeing uh, the whole story that the set of translations tells, which you'll understand that a bit later when we get to that. But basically, I had to do a ton of translations, but I just kind of was focused on the translations themselves and didn't really focus much at all on what they meant as a collective whole. So I can go through and I can try to piece information together there. So Goddess, Protect, of, Low 4. I don't know, I'm reading these out loud. There's text on screen, so I can read it, I guess, and that's where my mind went. So I think that's where I gave up. I gave up impossible. I'll look at it again later. I was like, what if time advances while I'm translating? I think this comes from the same place as the chart, the one we discovered on the domed market moon. Having another ancient artifact should help pin stuff down. This should help us locate its location. I think this place is ancient. Older than anything we've seen before. I agree, mistress, but the materials, the construction, they are old, yes, but I would not say they were primitive. The frames are much the same as those on Elbereth, stairs leading up. Luckily, they were so sturdily built. Mistress? The sooner we're away from here, the better. And at this point, I
Right on the
realize...
brink was an enormous book on a curved metal stand.
this is a big deal. I'm not sure what I'm going back to check here. I think I decided to go back and try the translation because I felt that if I was in a pause menu, time would pause, whereas if I did it live, maybe time wouldn't. I'm not exactly sure of that assertion of mine, but that was my thinking. I'm not sure it was a correct conclusion. But basically, I'm trying to think of anything else useful to say here or interesting to say here since I'm trying to kill time while we put together this translation. One of the things that I'll probably talk about later is how we had a segment. Oh, when I was trying to do the translations, there was a specific word that kept coming up that, based on context, I absolutely know it would have to have been the word our, because it was the word for we with a little apostrophe in front of it that is the possessive we use for of, as we can see on screen right now, but we also use it for the word your by putting it in front of the word you, so in front of we, it would have to transform into the word our. So I really wanted to do that, but I couldn't because of the way the game systems work. Like, if I could have isolated that symbol by itself, the game would have given me a chance to translate it. But in terms of this game, place down the glyphs you already have to break up the ancient text into words. There are trickles of dust coming down, mistress, every time you step. Be careful up there, mistress. The floor is not sound. A reading stand. This is a beautiful piece of work. Heavy, ornate. And the book. The book is unscathed. Okay, I look at the cover, I think. There are symbols in the leather. This one is a phrase run together. I think one of the big things I learned was there was a past tense indicator, and I think I put that together this episode rather than last episode. If you look at the word history, it's the middle symbol in the word history. That is a past tense indicator. If you have a verb and it's inserted somewhere, it becomes the past tense. Though I'm convinced my translation for history is correct. And lost must be right too. I need to try to remember to talk about what I was just going to talk about there. The history of the lost future. I've got a good feeling about that. What does that mean? That's what I think I say now. Yes, what does that mean? A book of prophecies? So, I want to know what's inside. I think I pressed open up the book. But it's chained shut. Take the book. I can't leave this here. But it's chained to the stand. Pull the book free. Maybe I can... Or maybe I can't. I can't even lift it right now. I'll have to leave the book behind. Huang would kill me if he found out. So, more circles. Beautifully set by the window, with a view across the dust. I don't think I ever examined the circles. It seems to have escaped the fire. You can still see the doodles scratched into the lacquer by whoever worked here. There must have been another level up here. Maybe several. Now there's just a drop.
My lungs were burning.
Mistress, the lack of atmosphere on this moon is taking its toll on you. I have no clue why I pause here, and I don't know what to fill the time with because I don't know how long it's going to be. I think keep me informed, or how long do I have? Okay, how long do I have? It seems quite apparent, 3 minutes. I'd better get down from here. And then the wall cracks, the ground cracks by the wind. Mistress. Are you in one piece, mistress? I think so. I cheered when the ground cracked earlier, by the way. But I won't be when this bit of floor gives next. I was excited, though, because I realized the part where the book fell. Perhaps I could jump. There's a sand pile down there. I could probably jump down into it. Please, mistress. You are not a cheerful girl of 6. But 6, I don't think I can move. You are not injured, mistress. I'm not hurt. But I can't move. The floor is going to give way. I can't. Can't you hopper me? From up there? No. I cannot reach you. Can't you hopper up to me? There is no I, mistress. I'll have to jump then. Regrettably, yes. Jump. Into the sand. Not so far. But since almost suffocating in the mine, the probability of a safe landing is quite high, as is the probability of running out of air. Quite how high? Or then I'd better jump. Then I'd better jump. Indeed. 6? I can't breathe. Your chest cavity is constricting due to lack of oxygen, mistress. As a result, your blood will thin. It will cause your muscles to atrophy, and it will affect your brain. Can't you do something? I can hopper you to safety, mistress. May I activate the hopper now, mistress? And then I decide I'm going to keep looking around. I'm not sure why I did that. Jump. Here goes. And I lose all my health. Mistress, that's all I've got. I'm activating the hopper immediately. I was devastated at that point because I had put together that the part with the book had fallen, and that perhaps it had broken free from its chains in the fall, or had gotten arranged in some kind of way I could get out. So we returned to the ship and sprung up into the water. And there was other stuff I didn't get to investigate that I hadn't even realized, like the circle pattern on the floor. So I pause here for a second. Probably I'm saying something, but I don't know what I'm thinking at that point, so I can't share that with you, unfortunately, because this is future me. So here I sit, recovering my health. My head. Take your time, mistress. You are safe. Back on the Nightingale. How long I was out? You can take me back now. I think I say you can take me back now, because I absolutely want to get that book. That would be unwise. How long was I out? Around 20 minutes, mistress. We should sail and replenish the air. Unwise why? We cannot go back, mistress. The last of the air is gone. There are no plants to replenish it. Its story ends now. So what happens to the library now? Very little will happen, I think. Time to move on. I will prepare the sheets, mistress. I also am amused how he says, I will prepare the, and then says some different word most of the time. Sheets, chalks, there's a few others. So at this point I decide that I'm gonna have to go back to Iox, I think. Yeah, because I haven't given her the crown. And I know I have a conversation with her where I see whether or not I can get away without giving her the crown. I also go talk to Huang. I hope to give him stuff to translate. We'll see how that ends up going. So the way, sailing to Iox and Ioxian space. So we're going to have a little bit of a time where I'm just going to sail a little and then jump ahead because I discover I can. I don't think any important text appears on screen, so I just had a thought while doing this commentary about the past tense, which is the past tense is not necessarily always the past tense in this language because of the loop. If you view time as a loop, the past is also the future, so past tense could be the future tense. And come to think of it, when I think of the shape of that symbol, there's another symbol that's similar to it but has kind of two lines over it. So maybe that is the future tense and the other is the past tense. And they're connected in that way of being a similar symbol, if there is indeed a future tense. But I'm not necessarily sure there will be because of the word will. We have the word will, and I think maybe it's going to be constructed, if it's based off of English where we have word for word substitutions, then will be, or will play, we just use the word for will and then the word for play. But I know in other languages they have future tenses of words like we have past tenses for words. We still can refer to things in the future, we just don't make it a matter of tense. So the mausoleum we found at the Withering Palace. If it's not from Iox, where is it? I believe the text is new, but the paper and binding is old. The pages have been scraped to provide a new something, and I wasn't able to finish reading that. And at that point, and where does the binding and paper of Mosswai come from? At this point I realize, hey, I cranked up the text speed earlier. I better crank it down because I'm not racing against time, and I'm not sure how helpful that was anyway. Seems like there's a few other artifacts. Some were ancient. Oh, Aaliyah, it's you. You gave me a fright. Are you feeling all right? I am quite scary. I say I am quite scary. What? No, that's not what I mean. Something happened to me this morning. On my way here. It was terrible. What happened? It was terrifying. I thought they were going to cut me. There were two of them? That's right. One man, one woman, but they both looked as mean as each other. What did they want? They kept asking questions. Where was the food kept? Did I have a ship? Who hired the dock workers? I didn't know the answers to any of them. If they bother you again, tell them you know me. Tell them if they hurt you, I'll put them back. Don't ask what it means, just tell them. Alright, but I hope I don't see them again. Loot preserve me, Aaliyah. You're ferocious. I think I should tell Mayari. Aaliyah, honestly, do you think this is the start of the fall? The fall happened 200 years ago, Huang. So it's due. The loop sustains us, but it doesn't make things easy. So I'm going to show him some text. I discovered a ribbon of paper you might be interested in. Let's see now. There's an inscription. I read it as, "This book tells true story." Yes, I think you're correct about true. Thanks, Huang. I found Mao's Withering Palace, Huang. It was beyond the garden, just as she wrote. That's wonderful. What was there? Books. Lots of books. I brought you one. It's an original copy of the Chronicles of Mazwai. Aaliyah, it's beautiful. Aaliyah, it's annotated. This is incredible. I'll have to... You like it? I love it. I'll leave you to it, shall I? Yes, thank you. Thank you, Aaliyah. So, this next bit here, I'm not able to talk to him anymore, and I definitely wanted to give him more artifacts. It makes sense that now that he has the book, he wants to look at and read the book. But no matter what I do, I can't get him to interact. I'm even gonna go outside, re-enter, and hope he'll talk to me. I think I end up doing that once more, though I'm not sure. The people who left that ancient site, they must have been settlers, carving out space in the nebula to live in. Ancient sailors. I wonder if there are any ancient settlers still out there. Most likely not, mistress. It has been a long time. We have not seen their boats. So now I wander back in, and I'm like, oh, hello there. Hello there, Huang. Can we talk? Oh, do you want to talk? Nope, you don't want to talk. And then I leave. Then I think I go and I wander around. I try to find where Yazi and Saya were, to see if I can go ahead and walk up to that place and talk to them again. I think that's my next course of action, so we'll find out if that's what happens. I decided to look through the history for some reason. I'm not exactly sure what I was trying to figure out, but I do that a little. I'm sure Professor Mayari would be most keen to see the crown, mistress. I don't want to part with it. It is a wonderful piece. But the professor will be most impressed, I am sure. She doesn't even believe in history. think of what we might learn from it. Hmm. Yeah, so we're wandering over. I'm trying to find my way. I do tend to get lost sometimes when I explore around, but I think I end up finding the place where they were pretty quickly. Yep, there's the fountain. And they are nowhere to be seen. Perhaps I should inform Professor Mayari that the possibility of the fall is imminent. I must tell her of Saya and Yazi's presence on Iox. This is all Renba's fault, really. I changed the subject. If he hadn't been so cruel... Renba does not appear to have had a functional ethical core, mistress. Although I note it was the functioning of yours that caused the sequence of events. I will inform the professor at the next opportunity. So I wander on back. We'll get that ethical core removed one of these days. My friend Aroi could do it. With respect, mistress. I am certain she could not. I really do appreciate how well the game manages to fill time. I can't remember if it was the episode before this one or this episode, but at some point I went on a tangent of how much I get annoyed when an NPC stops me to just say good faith to you. I don't mind them saying it, but I do mind the fact that I have to stop walking when it happens, because ideally what I would do is I would just have them say it as I walked by unless they wanted to initiate a real conversation, and each time it happens. How is it possible you remember the Withering Palace? I do not know, mistress. I think I must consider the matter more. Maybe Roy could help you. I do not want your friend poking around inside my core. I am well aware of what happened to my predecessor in that shop of hers. Would you allow a Myercian pig slaughterer to perform a heart operation on you? That's not the same. Maybe not for you. So I think I go in now. Yep. I'm going to try very hard not to give her the crown here. Aaliyah, your robot informs me that Janiki is indeed dead. Your robot told me Renba found some kind of ruin. What did you find there? Renba left us a message. Mistress? Go on. The hopper malfunctioned, so I decided to go and tell her about this, and Six doesn't know what happened there. And I think I said, and I spoke to Renba. Yep, and I spoke to Renba. I fear my mistress is now dissembling, Professor, though to what end I solicit. I thought Renba was dead. He spoke to me through a robot somehow. And what did he have to say? He said you weren't who you claim. And did that make any sense to you? Does it make sense to you? No. Poor Renba. He was never the most stable character. Someone had lived out there once. We found a ruined building. A hermit from Myrcy, I think. Nothing more? You think we missed something? I didn't say no. No? No, most likely not. Although perhaps Renba found something and it shaped his fate. It shared his fate. That is most probable, Mistress Mayari. Evidently it is likely he was making a swift return when he overexpelled his ship's biodome and repaired its hull. Thank you, Aaliyah. You've set my ease. You were worried he might be out there injured, perhaps? Or worse. As it is, now his soul will pass the river, will sail the rivers. Perhaps we will meet him again. Perhaps. There aren't that many souls to go around after all. Not good ones, anyway. Good day to you, now. So I try to leave, and then she says, "One more thing, Aaliyah. The crown. Give it to me. Now." I hesitate for a bit here, because I really want to try to say it doesn't belong to you or I don't have it. I really want to get out of giving it to her, but I end up going and deciding to give it to her. I was just about to. Here. Quite beautiful. The curators will enjoy digging into this piece. This is almost certainly the crown of the emperors of Iox, lost when Iox fell. As you should know, I might add, I can imagine you lifting this from the ashes of the last emperor himself. We've pinpointed one new location, an unknown ancient site. Time to go, mistress? I think I say no. We've still more to do here, yes. What I do is I decide to go off and explore a little further, because there's an area that I think I haven't gone that also leads to where the ship is. The robot I met on the hideout 6, it said something strange. Yes, mistress? It said a great darkness was coming. What did it mean? I have no idea. Master Inba did not lose his life out there without some cause. The library. Oh yes, I do go back and try to talk to Huang one last time. And I'll save you the suspense and tell you that it does not work as much as I want it to. It's possible I teleport out here, because I had hoped... No, I don't think it happens, but I had hoped that 6 might ask me if I wanted to teleport. Professor Mayara used a word. Slisset. What does it mean? So this was fascinating. This was something I was not expecting. And if we watched, I don't think 6's face turned off when she said Slisset earlier. What's the matter, 6? I intentionally avoid here saying, what? Is it because I said Slisset? Because my thinking here is that if I say it a second time, it might turn 6 back on. I wanted to explore the other dialogue options first. Is this because I said Slisset? So there I was surprised, because I expected the mention of the word turn 6 back on. You can stop it now, 6. Mistress. And then it doesn't get commented on. So I'm curious what's going on there. That's a new little mystery. But I feel like it's something that that we could end up using. Aaliyah, good faith to you. The robot you claim to have encountered after the hopper malfunction, mistress. It occurs to me it might have been a recording. It was Renba. Somehow. Messages such as the professor sends you are not live connections. They are recorded personality states. As am I, mistress. There must be a Rebus keyfoil nearby, cut to resonate on a hopper's frequency. In short, for whatever reason, Renba went to a lot of trouble to speak to you, mistress. My apologies for the sneeze there. I suppose no one knows this is a copy. It doesn't seem good enough for mighty Iox. Let's get off this rock. This way, mistress. And so we left the university. With enough new information to locate an undiscovered site. So I look at the timeline. We transport back to the ship. And we're pretty close to where I'm going to cut things off. Aboard the Nightingale, we returned to the ship and sprang up into the water. Is this the book from the library, Six? After the floor collapsed, mistress, the chain on the book broke free of the stand, which is what I had expected to happen. It seemed wasteful not to bring it with us. I was so excited when I saw this because I thought it had just gotten lost. I thought, doesn't seem to be paper exactly. It's as smooth as ceramic. Let's see now. And then I read from the beginning, and I always read from the beginning, basically. And I go through pretty much the whole thing. There's several that I'm not able to translate, but there's also quite a few that I am. And I feel like probably about 2/3 I'm able to translate to my satisfaction, or at all. But it takes a lot of time to try to figure out how to break up the words. There's lots of very long phrases, and it was fun to do. It was fun to say what my thoughts were, but like I've said before, I don't think I can recapture that. So what I'm going to leave you with is I'm going to thank you for watching this episode, and yeah, I'm going to thank you for watching this episode, and I apologize that this one is a bit on the shorter side, but sometimes things like this end up happening, and that's okay, and next time I'm going to hop right in and recap what I've seen in the book. Oh, also, I went in towards the end of this and I confirmed a lot of translations. I went in and solved them. So you can also look forward to the fact that we have confirmed a lot of words compared to last time. I don't remember what all of them are, unfortunately, but you'll notice that certain words now have no question mark when I'm trying to select them later. So without anything further I can think of, I thank you for watching. I thank you for your patience with this episode because of the technical difficulties and the fact that the audio quality might not be what you're used to having, not what I'm used to producing, certainly. Uh, though I haven't listened to it, maybe this sounds great. I don't know. Uh, so I guess I'll just say I'll see you next time, and I thank you so much for watching.